Hi everyone, welcome to my new series. I'm going to be playing a game called Extreme Warfare Revenge, and it's a wrestling manager simulation game. And I'm going to go back to the year 2001, and I'm going to manage WCW, and I'm going to try and keep them alive and see how things could have been if they hadn't been bought out by Vince McMahon in March of that year. So a lot of this is self-explanatory on the screen. I'll pick out the main ones. I won't bore you with things like mail, other promotion, internet, all that. It's not really relevant, a lot of it. But what I will say is that WCW were in a very, very bad financial position, so I won't be signing any wrestlers. You see, there are some names here, not huge names. So we've got likes of Kurt Hennig, CM Punk, a very young one. But I don't want anyone else on the wage bill. I'm going to get a few companies to sponsor me, and I'm not going to. I can't just sack anyone off the roster. But this is my roster I've got to work with, and I'm happy. We've got a lot of talent here to work with. So there's some guys on some very big contracts. There's not a lot I can do about that at the minute, but it'll tell me how long they have left. So if I go into meeting, I've got an assistant called Sophie, and she'll tell me everything I need to know. So she'll say, "Oh, we've got 77 workers. We need to assign a head trainer to power plant." Which I'm not going to open a power plant at the minute because it costs money, and a lot of the wrestlers we've got on the roster, they're established anyway. So she'll tell me if I need to hire anyone, etc., etc. Finances, this is how much we're generating, blah blah blah. Scouting staff, Rob Van Dam has talent, Rhino, but I won't be signing them, like I say, because of the financial situation. I can see if anyone's unhappy, and all of that sort of stuff. Written worker contracts, it tells me how many months each worker has left on the contract. And if I go into the actual roster, it'll tell me how much each guy is on. Now, one thing that does concern me is that Kevin Nash has creative control. And he is currently in a team with DDP, and they are the tag champions. So, if he didn't want to lose his tag belt, he doesn't have to. He can overrule me, which is not good. And he's got 19 months left on his contract. So, that's an obstacle I'm going to have to overcome. So, I want to keep this, and I'm going to put a few bullet points in the description in case you don't want to watch all of this. I'm going to keep it as realistic as possible. So, the pay-per-view we had before this was Starrcade 2000. And we had Scott Steiner versus Sid Vicious for the World Heavyweight title. You can see Scott Steiner is a current World Heavyweight title champion. If I go onto Quick Roster, I can see all my workers, main eventers. So in the contracts, or any wrestler could come to me and say, "I think I should be higher up the card," or it can be suggested to me by my assistants that a worker should be demoted down the card. So that's how we get all of these. So we've currently got 6 main eventers in the company. Now, ideally, you want heels against faces. A heel against a heel doesn't really work in a feud. A face against a face could work, but ideally, I want to play it safe. I want a heel against a face. So we've got Scott Steiner as the current champion. Ric Flair, main eventer. He's in his 50s now. He's not going to get another shot at the world title, but he's still very over. He's still one of the most popular guys in the company. So I'm still going to use him. He's still going to have a very valuable place in this company, but he's not going to be in talk for the world title. So we've got Scott Steiner. So really, we've got 4 options for Scott Steiner to enter a feud with. Now, one guy I do want to rule out is Booker T. Not because I don't think he's deserving, but mainly because Scott Steiner and Booker T did have quite a bit of a feud going on in the later year of 2000. So they've already had a bit of a feud. So I want to freshen things up a bit. Sid Vicious is Scott's last opponent. Now Scott beat him, and I could stick with Sid, but I think it's probably time to move on right now. Goldberg, he is a world champion. He needs to be at the top of the card. He was fighting the likes of Buff Bagwell, Lex Luger around this time. He should be in the main event, and he wasn't for quite a long time in WCW around this time. So the obvious choice to me would be Goldberg. Now Sting, he's definitely going to be in contention for a world title for the upcoming months, but for a lot of 2000, he was in a feud with Vampiro. He was more around for mid cards, so can I justify shooting him straight up to main event? Not really. So I think I'm going to pick Goldberg to be Scott Steiner's next opponent. If you look here, and I've been through this before, as a bit of research for this video, you can see Goldberg is over by 97. That means he's that much over with the fans. That's how popular he is with the fans. And he is the most over guy in this company, so he has to be feuding with Scott Steiner. Someone like Sid Vicious, I'm surprised he's only at 86 there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with him, and obviously any injuries or whatever, I have to take that into account if any of that happens. But for likes of Sid Vicious, he did get a terrible leg break at Sin 2001. This is a few weeks before that, so we're going on the assumption that Sid is fit and healthy because he was. Let's go back to the titles. So we've got the US title, General Reaction. Now, for me, the US title should be contested by guys in the upper mid card. General Reaction's a mid carder, which is fine, but he's only over with a score of 70. I think we need someone of a bit bigger name to be the US champ. I'd like to get a feud going between either Dustin Rhodes or the Cat. Probably for Cat. I think he deserves a push against Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett, to me, screams out US champ. So I'm probably going to enter Jeff Jarrett in a feud with the Cat. Maybe have him have a match first to see how they get on. For likes of DDP and Nash, they are the tag champs, so they are out of the US title talk. And when I do each event, so I'll be booking Nitro, Thunder, and Saturday Night 3 times a week. So for each one, I'll go through it all in more detail, in what my plans are. Insiders, tag champs. Now, if we go on tag teams, we want the heel tag team to challenge DDP and Nash. And I came up with O'Hare and Palumbo. Now, Kevin Nash could throw his toys out the pram and say, "Oh, they're below my level," blah blah blah. But they did just face the perfect event in Palumbo and Stasiak at Starrcade. Palumbo and O'Hare both have an overness of 73 in this game. Stasiak's only 68, so I'm quite happy with those two. Any other of those tag teams, I just think with DDP and Nash, they're really two bigger names to be competing in the tag division, but they are the tag champs, so I'm going to work around that and see how we get on. One thing I'm also going to do is I'm going to reintroduce, I'll do it now, the WCW TV title, singles title, mid-card, and I'll explain my plans for this title in the next video, but I'm going to have a tournament between all the mid-carders over the upcoming TV shows. So yeah, Hardcore Cruiserweight, I'll go more into that next time, but this is the first video, just a little introduction, and we've actually got Monday Nitro coming up next, so stay tuned. I'll put a few bullet points in for description just to let you know what's going on, in case you don't want to watch all this. Thanks for watching, and yeah, stay tuned.